and welcome to the World Battery Metals and Mining News for the 31st of July, 2024. London lags in mining listings as rivals surge. The London Stock Exchange, LSE, is losing its appeal as a prime venue for mining company listings, trailing behind exchanges in New York, Toronto, and Sydney. The market capitalization of London-listed mining stocks has declined from $322 billion in 2018 to $272 billion in 2024, while those in Australia, Canada, and the U.S. surpassed $325 billion each. Since 2020, mining firms on the LSE have raised merely $8 billion, significantly less than their counterparts in Sydney and Toronto. Dominated by a few major firms like Glencore, Rio Tinto, and Anglo American, the LSE saw over 100 companies with market capitalizations below £100 million each. The market faced additional challenges with the delisting of Russian gold producers post-Ukraine invasion and the transfer of BHP's primary listing to Australia. Further risks loom as Glencore considers spinning off its coal division for a New York listing, and Rio Tinto faces shareholder pressure to follow BHP's relocation. Rio Tinto open to major acquisitions to meet copper goals. Rio Tinto is considering substantial acquisitions in the copper sector, driven by an anticipated surge in demand outstripping supply, despite the high costs in the current market. CEO Jakob Stausholm mentioned during the first-half results call that Rio aims for a 3% annual growth in copper output from 2024 to 2028 through existing projects. The company's key projects include the nearly completed Oyu Tolgoi mine in Mongolia and the contentious Resolution copper mine in Arizona, which faces opposition from indigenous and environmental groups. Additionally, Rio Tinto is involved in strategic partnerships with Chile's Codelco and First Quantum Minerals in Peru, and is advancing its Nuton bioleaching technology to produce carbon-neutral copper. BHP, Lundin team up for South American copper push. Mining giants BHP and Lundin Mining announced a joint venture to acquire Filo Corp, enhancing their copper assets in South America through a $4.1 billion, $4.52 billion deal. The acquisition, offering Filo shareholders $33 per share, includes developing the Filo del Sol copper-gold-silver project in Argentina and London's nearby Josemaria project. BHP will fund $1.9 billion of the deal and acquire a 50% stake in Josemaria, paying US $690 million, $1.5 billion. The transaction strengthens BHP's strategy of acquiring early-stage projects and aligns with the industry's trend of buying production. Additionally, BHP and Lundin will invest the $115 million in near-term funding for Filo. Generation Mining advances on permitting for PGM-copper mine in Ontario. Generation Mining has received federal approval for amendments to the metal and diamond mining effluent regulations, allowing the construction of crucial water management infrastructure at its Marathon mine site, bringing the company closer to developing North America's next PGM, platinum group metals, and copper mine. This follows the Ontario government's approval of the mine's closure plan and previous environmental approvals. Remaining permits and approvals are expected in the coming months, positioning Generation Mining to start construction pending requisite financing. A recent feasibility study predicts the Marathon project will produce significant amounts of palladium and copper, with impressive financial projections. The company's stock rose 11.5% following the news, increasing its market capitalization to approximately $68.5 million. Tumbling lithium prices push Albemarle to fresh round of cost cuts. Albemarle, the leading global lithium producer, announced significant cost-cutting measures for the second time this year due to declining lithium prices, which have led to a second-quarter loss and a 2.9% drop in share value. This downturn is attributed to oversupply from China and slower-than-expected growth in electric vehicle (EV) adoption, forces that have pressured the market and prompted Albemarle to undertake a comprehensive review of its cost structure. The company, which had already reduced its workforce in January, is now considering additional layoffs, pauses in construction, and potential asset sales, though it intends to maintain its long-standing dividend. Albemarle's CEO, Kent Masters, highlighted that the lithium market conditions are worsening, signaling prolonged lower prices. Despite these challenges, the company remains optimistic about future lithium demand as EV adoption eventually accelerates. Albemarle reported a substantial quarterly net loss, but retained its full-year profit outlook due to successful cost-cutting measures and the performance of its catalyst division. New plans for LithiumBank's Boardwalk and Park Place projects in Alberta. LithiumBank Resources has outlined its 2024 development plans for the Boardwalk and Park Place lithium brine projects in Alberta. Over the next 2 quarters, the company will focus on advancing and de-risking these projects by acquiring bulk brine samples for testing their direct lithium extraction (DLE) technology at a pilot plant in Calgary. The pilot plant aims to demonstrate the scalability of the technology for commercial production of battery-grade lithium products. Significant milestones achieved this year include updated preliminary economic assessments. At Boardwalk, LithiumBank plans to drill a formerly producing hydrocarbon well to collect brine and confirm reservoir details, with the goal of recovering 98% of lithium using DLE technology, producing 34,005 tons per year of battery-grade lithium hydroxide monohydrate over 20 years. At Park Place, the company will similarly acquire brine for testing and replicate the work done at Boardwalk, with significant inferred lithium resources in 2 aquifers. OceanaGold stock falls on lower Q2 output. Shares of OceanaGold dropped by up to 10% after the company reported a significant decrease in gold production for the second quarter of 2024, with output at 98,200 oz, down 25% from the same period last year. The decline was primarily due to underperformance at its Didipio and Waihi mines. Despite this, OceanaGold projects meeting its annual guidance, supported by increased production in the latter half of the year from its Haile mine in South Carolina and the Macraes operation in New Zealand. Financially, the company saw a decrease in free cash flow to $31.2 million, less than half of Q2 2023's figure. As of late morning trading, OceanaGold's shares were down 6.2%, priced at $3.35. Victoria Gold CEO says company won't fold. Contamination miner. Victoria Gold has announced that the immediate threat of major contamination from its Eagle mine in the Yukon has subsided, and the company remains financially stable for the next 4 to 6 months. Following a significant landslide on June 24th that released millions of tons of cyanide-laden ore, CEO John McConnell has publicly apologized to all affected parties. Despite some disagreements with territorial government's intervention, the company is aiding in the construction of a berm to prevent further environmental and safety issues. Minor cyanide contamination has been detected in local waterways, prompting the company to propose a strategic irrigation plan and enhance water treatment efforts. Shares of Victoria Gold have declined substantially since the incident, and the company is bracing for potential financial support needs in the forthcoming months. Rio Tinto's Simfer, Wabtec signed $277 million Guinea train pact. Rio Tinto plc's unit has agreed to a $277 million deal with Wabtec Corp. to purchase locomotives for transporting iron ore from Guinea's Simandou deposit, the world's largest untapped reserves. The agreement was signed in Conakry on the second anniversary of the Compagnie du Transguinéen, a transport joint venture partially owned by the Guinean government and equally held by Rio Tinto's grouping with Chinese investors and the China-backed winning consortium Simandou. Recently, Simandou shareholders committed to new investment agreements for constructing 600 kilometers of rail lines and port facilities crucial for developing the deposit. Simfer, the joint venture behind this initiative, is composed of Rio Tinto, Chinalco, and the Guinean government. By Ugna Kamara. Aruma gears up for busy second half. Aruma Resources, AAJ, is set to acquire copper and uranium projects in Queensland and South Australia, with shareholder approval pending in a vote tomorrow. The junior explorer has identified several priority targets, including the R9 anomaly at the Bortala project in Queensland, showing potential copper-gold mineralization. Additionally, at the Fiery Creek project in Mount Isa, initial fieldwork is planned following promising historical exploration results. The Wulan IOCG uranium project in the Gawler Craton will also undergo exploration, targeting IOCG systems and uranium prospects. In Western Australia, Aruma aims to further drill for rare earths at the Salmon Gums project and continue soil sampling at the Saltwater Gold project. With a cash balance of $2.2 million, the company is also set to advance its Matt Dean's lithium project with additional drilling for metallurgical testing. Jindalee produces battery-grade lithium carbonate from McDermitt. Jindalee Lithium has successfully produced battery-grade lithium carbonate from ore at its McDermitt lithium project in Oregon, achieving a 99.8% purity level in tests conducted by Hazen Research. This milestone confirms the effectiveness of their processing methods at a bench scale, reducing project risks and bolstering expectations. The results, alongside other potential optimizations, will support the pre-feasibility study, PFS, set for release in Q4 2024. Jindalee's market value stands at 16.33 cents in million, and this news has boosted its share price by 13.46% to 0.295 cents. The McDermitt project aims to supply lithium chemicals to the U.S. automotive industry, which is increasingly adopting electric mobility technologies. Jindalee also focuses on exploring lithium and other minerals in Australia and is participating in the Diggers and Dealers Mining Forum in Kalgoorlie, Western Australia. Iondrive to conduct further trials on battery recycling technology. Iondrive Ion is progressing with large-scale optimization trials to refine their deep eutectic solvent, DES, battery recycling technology and enhance its efficiency, following successful bench trials that showed high metal recoveries and minimal solvent losses. The continuous trials aim to provide crucial data for planned pilot plant studies, integral to the pre-feasibility study, PFS, set for completion in October 2024. These studies will include various engineering evaluations to strengthen the technology's economic and sustainable viability, aligning with global trends and regulatory emphasis on eco-friendly recycling processes. With an aim to process black mass in key markets such as Europe, the US, and Australia, Iondrive's technology promises to retain economic value locally and supply recovered materials directly to EV battery manufacturers. The DES method offers a non-toxic, closed-loop recycling alternative to traditional mineral acid leaching, ensuring a minimal environmental footprint. China's copper buyers make cautious return after prices slump. China's copper market is showing signs of tentative improvement following a prolonged slump that dragged prices down from record highs. Despite a lack of significant recovery, renewed buying interest has been noted, with prices rebounding modestly from below $9,000 a ton to $9,116. Key indicators, such as rising import premiums, reduced stockpiles, and increased production at processing plants, hint at a gradual comeback in demand. The State Grid Corp of China's planned spending increase and tighter supply of scrap metal also support this trend. However, China's broader economic struggles and a prolonged real estate downturn remain challenges. Analysts remain cautious but optimistic that demand for copper is not lost for the year, with strength in sectors like electric vehicles and renewables potentially driving future growth. Liontown kicks off lithium production in Western Australia. Liontown Resources has commenced lithium production at its Kathleen Valley project in Western Australia, achieving a significant milestone with the first spodumene concentrate emerging from the processing plant. This marks the beginning of a production ramp-up targeting 3 million tons per year by the end of the first quarter next year. The company, backed by billionaire Gina Rinehart, is transitioning from construction to production, with more commissioning activities and construction of underground infrastructure underway. In conjunction with this, Liontown has entered a short-term supply deal with Beijing Sinomine International Trade, shipping 100,000 dry metric tons of spodumene concentrate over 10 months starting September 30. This development has positively impacted the company's share price, boosting it by nearly 4%.